This is 7 News, the voice of the coast.
Tonight, fans pack up after a problem-plagued splendour in the grass. Calls for more urgent action to keep foot and mouth out of Australia.
I'm Daniel Gibson. Later on this news hour, John Barilaro accused of assault after a scuffle with a cameraman. And families share their heartache at an inquest into a deadly COVID outbreak.
7 News begins now.
Good evening. The curtains have come down on Splendour in the Grass, with organisers left to think about what might have been. The event was troubled by wet weather and transport delays, which angered fans and left them stranded for hours.
Splendour in the Grass is done and dusted. Festival goers packing up and leaving after an eventful 3 days, many needing to get towed, with the wet weather wreaking havoc on campsites. But it didn't come free.
Yeah, there's a tractor going around, but they're charging people.
Due to heavy rain, the car park was changed into a campground at the last minute. Some believe the site wasn't equipped with the proper amenities, and they want a refund.
Oh, definitely. Like, the facilities have been given absolutely appalling. Like, we're just stuck in a car park with no direction, told absolutely nothing.
A main criticism has been transport in and out of the event. Thousands had to wait more than 5 hours just to be able to leave the venue at night. Event organisers claim that some buses didn't show up, causing even more pressure. The Byron Shire Mayor believes this was an oversight.
I think the most disappointing aspect was the bus situation and how long people have had to wait to get home, queuing for hours.
Questions have been raised if the event should have been allowed to accommodate 50,000 people.
We need to look at the approval that was given by the state government and what the terms of that were in terms of that increase in capacity from 35 to 50,000 and whether that was met.
But the council is grateful for the money that was brought to the local economy, and many festival goers took the adverse conditions in their stride.
More people complaining and people embracing it, but yeah. As long as we had a good time, that's all that matters.
And we cross live now to Sam Payne in Ballina. And Sam, how have the organisers reacted to the criticism of this year's event?
Maddie, they've released a statement apologising to fans for any inconvenience they may have experienced, and they've also acknowledged first-time festival goers and those who hadn't experienced a rain-affected event, saying they understand it was a lot. There will be full refunds for Friday ticket holders, bus tickets and parking prices. So it wasn't the 20th anniversary that they were hoping for, but event organisers said that they've consulted with the weather gods and believe that 2023 will have a lot better weather.
Oh, well, good to hear. Thanks, Sam. Sam Payne there in Ballina live for us tonight. Foot and mouth disease has become the country's most terrifying threat to biosecurity. It has the potential to decimate the Australian livestock industry. And now there's growing debate around how best to stop the disease entering the country.
The threat of foot and mouth disease on Australia's doorstep has farmers across the country holding their breath. Fifth-generation dairy farmer Luke Cleary fears it will cripple the livestock industry.
Reports I heard from the UK years ago of whole herds having to be killed overnight is a very scary thought. And for our business, you know, what the hell would we do without our cattle? We've got no milk to sell. That's just game over, basically.
Warhope vet Michael Ferguson was working in the UK during the 2001 outbreak. In Lancashire, he was initially monitoring a region thought to be free of the disease. Within no time at all, millions of animals were affected.
There was one case, and within 2 weeks there was 30 cases. Within a month there would have been hundreds. And each one of those cases means that entire farm and all the animals on it would have to be put down.
Foot and mouth not only affects cattle, but all cloven-hoofed animals, even feral pigs. The potential for spread within Australia is unimaginable.
If something like that happened, I don't even know where you get the cattle to start again. You know, like everything would be destroyed, pregnant or not.
Now there's calls to step up biosecurity to even close the borders from Indonesia.
Is really sitting on their hands with this. I can't understand how it's not a top priority. We've got an island country and we haven't got this disease here yet. And if it gets in here, it will just decimate the whole livestock industry.
But Michael Ferguson fears it might not be that simple.
It's probably going to spread from Indonesia. It could easily spread into other countries around there. And where do we stop? We can't just look at the flights. We have to look at all of our borders and all of our border security.
Samantha Crowe, 7 News.
A landmark report into the treatment of mental health problems in Australia reveals the regions have been left behind. Many in the space have experienced the shortfall of services firsthand and say change is urgently needed.
In 2018, Rhys Cummins hit crisis point and became one of too many to make an attempt on his own life. The local youth worker had to navigate a system he says too often makes things harder, not easier.
When I was in crisis, I've presented to the hospital numerous times and I've had to wait there for 4 hours.
New mental health data has revealed it's the region suffering the most.
I think we've still got a culture in the regional areas where, you know, men should be strong and not talk about their emotions or cry or feel anything.
In the numbers, a stark picture. 8.9% of regional participants with an anxiety disorder compared with 5.5% in cities. And in substance abuse, the difference staggering. 23.5% compared to just 14%. Many simply can't access timely or affordable treatment.
We can have really long wait times and wait lists to see medical professionals, and then privately, it could cost a lot of money, and some people just don't have that money.
The expense of going to see a medical professional, I know that personally it can be hard for me to afford that sometimes.
Jordan and Rhys both run groups which help plug gaps in local mental health support.
I definitely think that there could be a bit more awareness put on mental health services.
Suicide is a leading cause for young people aged 15 to 44. So we should treat it a lot more serious, invest a lot more in it.
Penny Burford, 7 News.
And if you or anyone you know needs support, you can contact Lifeline on 13 11 14. Businesses are being urged to allow staff to work from home to try and reduce the spread of COVID. For some, it's an easy adjustment, but others simply can't afford to lose that face-to-face contact.
Big business is fueling the discussion of working from home again as COVID cases climb across the country. Companies like Telstra and Westpac are advocating remote working, and some local businesses are doing the same.
All of our staff always have the option to work from home if they feel safer or if they're worried about their health. We prefer them to feel comfortable working.
Companies like Woodley's Motors have already put protocols in place to limit the spread.
We've been able to separate the administration staff and put them in different showrooms and places with low traffic.
There are no mask mandates yet, but many businesses are deciding if they should put their own rules in place.
If we get to a point where we think that masks should be mandatory and maybe they're not yet, we'll make that own decision.
For institutions like the University of New England, employees are given the choice to work from home, but statistics show around 60% remain in the office. Health Minister Mark Butler has urged people to consider working from home to curb the rising cases of COVID and influenza. It has sparked many tough decisions in the workplace, but those who rely on face-to-face contact can't afford to put those measures in place.
With retail, it's very hard for us.
You can't gauge body language, you can't gauge certain things through Zoom. And it's funny, as an accountant, you might think, well, it's figures, but it's not. It's the whole aspect of everything.
Rachel Holdsworth, 7 News.
A lingering low pressure system continues to plague the North Coast after a choppy weekend at sea. Boaters and beachgoers have been warned to watch out for hazardous surf conditions over the coming days.
Weather forecasters are predicting conditions at sea will deteriorate over coming days. The swell expected to build, peaking at 4 metres by Wednesday.
And this seems to be up and down the coast at the present moment, so it's not a good time to go out, and it's not pleasant to go out and fish.
The conditions on shore today on Foster's beachfront were pretty mild with moderate nor'easters, but Marine Rescue is warning boaters the ocean swell is building beyond the shoreline.
If you were a boater, you'd look at that entrance and say, oh no, it'll be all right, I'll go out and do some fishing. But when you get out there, that's where the problem is.
The Bureau issuing a gale warning for the Coffs and Macquarie coast, strong winds in Byron. Rock fishermen advised to avoid coastal rock platforms.
We are frequently going out there trying to pick fishermen off out of the water after they've fallen in.
The prevailing low expected to disrupt the weather for weeks to come. Swimmers and anglers encouraged to reassess their options.
We've got a lovely lake you could fish inside.
Liz Penny, 7 News.
Well, it's time now for a quick check of the weather with Kirsty Fitzpatrick. And Kirsty, even with those choppy waters out there, it was a return to fine conditions today.
It was, Maddie, quite a nice day across the coast. Good evening, everyone. We started the day with fine skies, partly cloudy, following early fog, mainly for the inland. Overnight temperatures were a little cooler than average in the south. Foster down to 6 degrees, Kempsey down to a minimum of 5 degrees, but we reached the high teens and the low 20s during the day. Some blue skies poking through some of that scattered cloud with a light east to southeasterly breeze. In Grafton, our maximum was 20 degrees, 19 degrees in Yamba today, while Leesmore further inland also had a top of 20. Those hazardous conditions will continue offshore tomorrow, and we could see some showers for the south. I'll have those details coming up later on, Maddie.
Thanks, Kirsty. See you in a few minutes. Still to come in 7 News, the organisation's keeping those wheels turning in tough times. And Port Macquarie comes up trumps against some of the country's best emergency crews.
And later on this news hour, John Barilaro caught in a scuffle with a cameraman. Police now investigating, so could charges be laid? A state of emergency declared in California as a wildfire doubles in size overnight. And we reveal who'll be headlining the Commonwealth Games opening ceremony. Those stories and plenty more, we'll see you at 6:30.
Meals on Wheels is facing an influx of customers in the past 3 years due to the pandemic. But as the price of produce increases, they're now being forced to raise their prices in order to survive.
It's an uncertain time for many businesses. Pressure is mounting as they try to survive rising food and fuel prices, and not to mention an increase of the minimum wage and superannuation.
Our food costs have gone through the roof. As of the 1st of July, our wages have gone up 5.1%, which includes the superannuation. And the costs have been putting a lot of pressure on our budget.
The pandemic has seen rise in customers for Tamworth's Meals on Wheels service, many people relying on them for a hot meal. Employees and volunteers working in the kitchen make around 400 meals a day and up to 800 on the weekend.
We're actually increased our staff numbers by 2 over the last 3 years, simply because of the demand and the amount of volume of work that we're putting through.
It costs a customer $7 for a meal and has been the same for 5 years. But rising costs have forced the charity to raise prices.
We are looking at increases to cover the additional costs of running the service. We don't know at this point what they are. We will keep them to a minimum.
Government funding provides Meals on Wheels around 42,000 meals a year, but they are expecting to reach around 80,000. The cost of some produce rising by more than 10%.
Say $2 a lettuce up to $12 a lettuce. Broccoli has gone from about $3-4 a kilo up to probably $15 a kilo sometimes.
The spike in prices is a concern for community members, but there's only a few ways for a charity to survive during a time of high inflation, including more government funding and more volunteers.
Our staff are tired, but we keep going.
Rachel Holdsworth, 7 News.
The Port Macquarie SES crew is celebrating a victory at the Australasian Road Crash Rescue Competition. They won the Directors' Shield for the 3rd consecutive year. Over the 3-day competition, emergency service volunteers were challenged to road crash rescue scenarios, including extracting a patient from a vehicle, first aid and CPR. The training fine-tuning their skills for when they are needed for real.
It is a competition at the end of the day, but we do not train for a competition, we train for real life. So we bring basically the knowledge that we have learned at these competitions back here into Port Macquarie, where we then develop our road crash rescue operators.
The preparation for the competition helping save lives in regional communities. Still to come in 7 News, a helping hand for the Mannings Rainbow Warriors. And the Port Macquarie Breakers are in control in Group 3 Rugby League.
Tomorrow on Sunrise, $100 worth of petrol for only $1. The most extreme bargains are here and we will reveal the best deals.
Plus, Curtis Stone is live in the kitchen with a simple, healthy and delicious winter meal. See you in the morning.
The Port City Breakers have cemented their position at the top of the Group 3 Rugby League table after a huge victory against the Macleay Valley Mustangs. The final score, 52-6. The Mustangs putting on a show despite the final figures on the scoreboard.
The Breakers remain undefeated heading into round 11 after a convincing win against the Mustangs. The Port City side claiming victory 52-6 against a spirited Macleay Valley outfit. Breakers were slow to start but found their groove, taking control and running in 5 first-half tries, including this from youngster Cuban Piper. The halftime score already 24-0 to the Breakers.
Firstly, it was good to get on the field. We haven't played in nearly 3 weeks, so it was good to get out and get a good win like that. Boys didn't get too complacent. We just stuck to our game plan after the first 20 minutes. We got into the grind.
The Mustangs not giving in, digging deep for this in the second from Isaiah Barker. Hitting back despite the scoreboard, the Macleay Valley missing 6 experienced key players.
Fair few key players missing, so that played in effect, but I'm still proud of the boys. We had some spurts in the game that were really good and some positives we can take out of it.
The final score not a reflection of the effort on the field.
All the players of Mustangs are turning up, showing. They turn up and play every week, no matter what the circumstances are. They're really tough young side, so yeah, all credit to them, turn up, and they just stick it to us for periods.
The Breakers head into next week top of the table. The Mustangs aren't ruling out a run in the finals just yet.
With a couple wins against the sort of teams that are around the same, I reckon we can push nearly for that final 4 spot, so yeah.
Other results from the weekend, Port Macquarie Sharks took the win over Wauchope Blues and Foster Tuncurry beat the Taree Bulls. Samantha Crowe, 7 News.
Coffs Harbour was in a tight tussle with Port Macquarie for top honours in round 13 of Mid-North Coast Rugby. The home crowd helping edge the Snappers across the line with a 3-point win over the Southerners.
It was a battle of the Reds at Coffs Harbour's Rugby Park. The scoreline locked at 0-0 10 minutes in. Then Coffs Harbour's Brendan Murphy took charge on the wing.
That's a fantastic opening try to the Coffs Harbour Snappers.
Next up, a breakaway run from Port Macquarie, a cut-out pass delivered at full tilt to even the score.
Fantastic try to Port Macquarie Pirates.
The teams deadlocked at 5-5 going into half-time, frustration spilling over. The Port Pirates regrouped at half-time, Coffs Harbour yielding to a big push from the forwards, toppling over the try line 14-5. Minutes later, Coffs Harbour's Mitch Walton was flying solo, barrelling through with a sideways run and a conversion kick to come, 12-14.
Holds the ball up, he's going to cross, that's a fantastic try.
The momentum continued to shift to the Snappers, muscling through to surge ahead.
Sweeney with the pick-up, marches forward to the line, crosses and there's a try!
The Port Pirates displaying some fine handiwork, a light touch opening up the try line out wide.
That's a fantastic try.
Port Macquarie's final plunge disallowed. Victory to the Coffs Harbour Snappers 22-19 with final playoffs just weeks away. Liz Penny, 7 News.
The Rainbow Warriors in Taree have earned a $15,000 boost from the state government. The money will be spent on specialised soccer equipment for players of all abilities. The club hosting weekly games for soccer players every Sunday, improving access to the sport.
You know, with Dylan Alcott as Australian of the Year, I think, we all aspire to a man like that. And in our LGA here, we've got a big responsibility to make changes for people with disability.
The Rainbow Warriors are eager to attract ongoing funding, hoping it could result in a synthetic pitch for players across the Manning area. Still to come in 7 News, we'll have your weather forecast for you. That's coming up next. See you in a second.
Welcome back. A trough and a gusty cold front are moving across New South Wales, leading to showers and a drop in daytime temperatures. Blustery winds, and showers could even fall as snow for some of the alpine regions. Conditions should clear slightly midweek ahead of a second cold front arriving for the weekend. If we look to our rain map, the upcoming wet weather is predominantly falling through central and southern areas, including south of Port Macquarie. We are expecting some showers for the north coast tomorrow, otherwise though remaining dry for the week ahead. On to tomorrow, not bad conditions across the region as a whole. It will be partly cloudy, temperatures reaching the high teens and the low to mid 20s. But as we said earlier, there is a slight chance of showers, mainly for the south. We could see 2 to 3 millimetres. Moderate winds tending west to northwesterly. Byron Bay, a partly cloudy 19 degrees. On the waters though, the hazardous surf conditions will continue. There is a strong wind warning in place for Byron Bay, tending gale force as we track further south. We are expecting seas up around 3 metres with with a 6 to 9 foot swell. On to the middle of our working week now. Blue skies and sunshine for our coastline. It's looking like a beautiful middle of our working week. Cooler temperatures, Dorrigo dropping all the way down to just 13 degrees with windy weather as well, particularly for the mid-coast. Speeds around 25 to 30 kilometres an hour. Casino and Evans Head expecting maximums of 24 degrees, but with that wind chill factor, it could feel slightly cooler. By Thursday, those winds will ease right back to no more than a slight breeze. Sunny again, 20 at Kempsey, 24 Port Macquarie, and the same for Wauchope. A little bit of frost on higher ground though, thanks to some cooler overnight temperatures. Grafton dropping to 3, but a sunny maximum of 21 degrees. Those blue skies, a nice welcome change from some of the wet weather we have had, Maddie.
Yes, we're all looking forward to the sunshine. Thanks, Kirsty. See you later. And that's all we have time for tonight. Right now, though, Dan has your national news with the police investigation into a scuffle involving John Barilaro.